Page 78 out of the journal, lesson 4.3. Number 1, 6n is less than 90. So we divide by 6 on each side. And we get n is less than 15. And when you graph that, it'll be an open circle to the left. Number 2, x divided by 4 is less than or equal to negative 18. Here we multiply both sides by 4. And we get x is less than or equal to negative, because different sign negative when we're multiplying, and 18 is 36, so 72. Negative 72. Number 3. Negative 20t is greater than negative 80. Here we have to divide both sides by negative 20. So t, negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive. 80 divided by 20 is 4. T is less than 4 because remember, when we multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip that sign around, which I did. Number 4. Negative 3q is greater than or equal to 91.5. Divide both sides by a negative 3, leaving me with q on the left-hand side. Flip this sign because I just divided by a negative. Less than or equal to. This is different sign negative when I'm dividing. 3 goes into 9 3 times. It goes into 1 0 times. It goes into 15 5 times. Negative 30.5. Number 5. Negative 4p is less than 2/3. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. P is, flip the sign because I just divided by a negative. And now I have 2/3 divided by negative 4, which is negative 4 over 1. That's the same as 2/3 times 1 over 4, negative of course. Simplify before I multiply, and I get negative 1/6. Negative 1/6. Number 6. Negative 8 is greater than or equal to 1.6 m. I have to flip this because we want the variable on the left-hand side. 1.6 m. Flip this sign because I flipped the sides. Less than or equal to negative 8. Now I'm going to divide by 1.6 on both sides. I don't flip this sign around again because I didn't multiply or divide by a negative. So this side over here, the left-hand side, is m. This stays as less than or equal to. And this is going to be a negative because different signs when I'm multiplying or dividing leaves me with a negative. And 8 divided by 1.6, I move the decimal once, so I move the decimal once. 16 into 80 is 5 times. M is less than or equal to negative 5. Number 7. Negative r over 4 is less than or equal to negative 10. Multiply both sides by negative 4. R greater than or equal to, I flip the sign because I multiplied by a negative. And over here, a negative times a negative is a positive 40. Number 8. Negative t over 5 is greater than 2.5. I multiply both sides by a negative 5, which means I will be flipping this sign. T is less than, and 2.5 times 5
Jess, could you please go to the art room to help with the key problem?
Is 12.5, and I have a positive times a negative, so negative. T is less than negative 12.5. Well, I don't really have enough room to squeeze the last two in down there. Number 9, negative 2 is greater than or equal to Q over negative 0.3. First thing is to flip the side, so now I have Q over negative 0.3, turning this around, less than or equal to negative 2, multiply by negative 0.3, multiply by negative 0.3. So I'm left with Q, I switch this sign around because I multiplied by a negative, and 2 times 0.3 would be 0.6 because I'm just doubling it or adding it to itself when I multiply by 2. And a negative times a negative is positive, so just 0.6. Number 10, to win a game, you need at least 45 points. Each question is worth 3 points. Write and solve an inequality that represents the number of questions you need to answer correctly to win the game. So 3 times the correct answers, I guess I'll call that C. 3 points times how many correct answers you have needs to be at least 45 points. So it could be 45 points, or it could be greater than. It wouldn't make much sense to say less than or equal to. That would mean I would win the game right now with no points at all. It has to be greater than or equal to 45. Well, I want to find out what C is, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. This is number 10, by the way. And I'm left with C must be greater than or equal to 15. Have a wonderful evening, and we shall see you tomorrow in class.